Well, for those who are tuning in and listening for the first time, this is Andrew, Craig and Sean, and this is our Four Walls podcast. Probably a good place to start is to give a little background on what Four Walls is. Andrew.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Four Walls, well, you're probably getting a feel for it already. We didn't muck it up that time, Craig. That was really good.
I know.
That was great. Thank you for that. Four Walls is about a safe space, really, to have conversations about whatever we want to have conversations about. It's an idea behind freedom to speak about the things that people really want to speak about freely. So what we might speak about today, I'm not sure, but you can be guaranteed that we'll speak openly and honestly about it. So Four Walls is just a safe space to have a good conversation about things that are on our minds, whatever they might be. I think everyone out there should know we haven't got a script. and that will become blatantly obvious, I suspect, as we go along. So I suppose, by way of apologising up front now, Craig will blaspheme regularly and swear.
Which is so true.
And Sean is probably going to say some things that are totally inappropriate.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, most likely. But that's
the nature of the podcast.
That's the thing is, it's not. And plus, you can't kick me under the desk, Andrew. That's the.
I wouldn't dream of it.
We'll have to get like a safe thing.
I just got a buzzer.
Where if I'm going over that line, then something.
We need a buzzer.
A virtual kick.
A virtual kick.
Yeah.
Actually, I think quite a lot of people need a virtual kick.
Absolutely.
And our topic.
That could be a topic.
By the way, our topic for today, everyone, is bandwagons. And the jumping upon them.
But yeah, it's like that. When COVID came and everyone was like the Teams and Zoom thing. Skype used to be so professional. Video calls. There were rules. And it was like a meeting that was a real meeting, except it was on screen. And then as COVID started, beards started growing, hair started growing, ties were thrown and burned, shirts, blazers started coming off, T-shirts, shorts. And there was like, look, we're in this shit situation. We have to kind of carry on, but let's not sort of fake the idea that actually we're mimicking the normal work environment, because you're not. You're still keeping things going, but it was that we don't have to do it in a suit and tie. In fact, it got to the stage, if you remember, that if you were on a Teams or Zoom, and someone was sitting in a suit and tie, it was like, what is wrong with you? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Yeah. We're on a video call in our house.
As long as you're here to hear, you're respectable-ish, as long as you won't get arrested for it.
So that was a random rant. You see, it was nothing to do with bandwagons, was it?
So does Skype still exist?
Yes.
Well, sort of. It transitioned.
Well, it does. No, I spoke to someone yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, they're in Canada.
Okay.
So they're I can't actually see it's just in case. They're an EP company, but they're saying that their go-to is Skype. How is that? It surely can't even be functioning.
I was under the impression Microsoft purchased it and was Teams.
Maybe not in Canada.
Maybe not in Canada.
Okay.
Maybe not in Canada.
Well, there we go. There's somebody who's watching this, and I hope there is somebody watching this.
Maybe you can explain.
They are ranting at us now and saying, of course Skype is now.
Of course Skype exists.
Whatever.
Yeah, people use it.
But that's probably because we're not. Well, Sean is, but Craig and I are not tech buffs. We know enough to be dangerous about this tech. But
tech's a good kind of place to start, isn't it?
Of course, it is.
Bandwagon jumping.
Well, that's where we'll jump in,
isn't it? Yeah, bandwagon.
What are you thinking about?
Tech, social media.
Social
media. Yeah, it's like an everyday piece of everyone's life and world. And see, I hate it, right? I have Facebook. I've always had Facebook. I don't really use it much. I view things on it, and my wife puts lots of great pictures of her holiday with the kids, and it's really good for that. And looking back, going, oh, look how the kids grew.
An online phone, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of an online
storage.
I've had the occasional rant on it.
Sure.
When stupid people post something and you think, why am I'm not going to bite because I don't know this person.
You do, though.
But it's a stupid comment and then you bite. I've got better at it. Andrew used to be really good at it. It was quite funny.
Yeah, I've managed to wean myself off, although I had an extraordinary experience last week, which I might tell you about, but it involves the Scottish MSP, and
I would not have thought that.
Into deep trouble if I say anything.
No way, right.
It'd be really good if in the first episode, you were the one who was actually offensive.
I was the
not
one
me.
that was
All right.
accused of a hate crime or something like that.
You get arrested. You can actually get
Yeah,
arrested.
I wouldn't
now.
have guessed Andrew.
Any police watching us right now would be panic and think, please no, not another one of these hate things. It'll take too much time. but social media, like Bandwagon, jump in.
Yeah.
So I use like Facebook for things like that. LinkedIn's a piece of my everyday work. That could be a business platform, right?
I don't view LinkedIn as social media.
If
personally.
you think, right, this is some scary stuff, right? If you think like how many people in the world, Sean, you might tell me how many people in the world. I don't know.
8 billion, roughly? 8.5?
8.5 billion, right? Now, think of the breakdown of population and disparity in terms of rich and poor and things like that. 62.5% of the world's population use social media of some sort.
Some countries have
How's that possible? How's that even possible? Like over 60% of the world's population use social media.
Mm-hmm.
How? I wouldn't have even thought there's the infrastructure there to do it. Is it?
Well, there you go. I don't know. They all seem to flood onto LinkedIn sort of at 10 o'clock on a Monday morning, as far as I can see.
LinkedIn, yeah. And you're right
That's the
about
thing.
that.
I mean, you're talking about social media, but how many apps how many platforms are there?
Well,
there's more than what
I saw something interesting a couple of weeks ago, and it was actually not specifically social media, but it gives you an idea. It was saying that Zoom, which we're using at the moment.
Yeah.
By the way, Zoom, we're using you at the moment, Zoom. So, okay.
Not a big
Other platforms are available.
As a platform of choice, was voted the number one video conferencing platform, okay?
Yeah.
Teams, which I struggle with, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I do have that as well.
Was at number 37.
What?
37?
What?
That's pretty
37.
mental,
So that
actually.
in between Zoom and Teams, there's 35 other
I know.
platforms like this.
I think it depends
How's this
on
even possible?
Well, it depends on what you're baked into, right? Now, the reason that I think, well, here's my opinion on Zoom is because I think it's number one because it's somewhat universal. Teams, I struggle with Teams as well because I'm not a Microsoft user. If you're baked into the Microsoft environment in your work, for example,
Not that that's a criticism of Microsoft in any way, shape, or form. We think it's a brilliant platform.
But we love Microsoft.
That's the thing. It would be brilliant if you're baked into it. If you're
Let's
embedded
use
into
Apple.
like I use Google Meet for my work because we're embedded into the Google platform.
Which is actually, I think, a better.
Although
I don't use it.
I think it's simpler.
Yes,
I don't know if it's any better or whatever, but Zoom seems to go anywhere because it's its own thing.
I think that's maybe. I think you're right. It's like Apple, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like the iPhone, and this because I thought it was a cool phone when it first came out, and it was. So I got it. But then what you don't realize is happening is you're putting your life on Apple. So your photo albums, your Apple account, your iCloud, things like that. Then Apple Music. Apple Music's another one. Your photo albums, your files.
Yep.
Then you start thinking, okay, right, great. I'll get a Mac or an iPad, and then they all link to each other. And then you think a new smartphone's come out. You think, do you know what? I'm going to switch to one of these smartphones, but you can't. You can't because you're outside
of the ecosystem.
No, because they've caught you. They've really. It's like kidnapping.
We were looking at a new Galaxy folding phone.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It's really cool. It's really nice. But
they are cool.
We walked away from it because we've got
an iPhone.
Because you can't do it.
We were sitting in this room the other night, and there was a text message that came through on this. But of course, as it just is there, but every machine around us pinged at the same time.
That's the thing. If you're on a call.
Yeah.
I've not got it on today. So you're on a call on the laptop. So I'll just decline that call because I'm on a Teams.
Other places.
Then your phone rings.
Yeah.
The iPad rings another. Then your watch starts pinging, and like literally everything. And then something you're asked. Something calls out. You're speaking to somebody, and something calls out. Oh, I don't know the answer for that. Or your iPad's got an opinion on what you're talking about.
Yeah.
See, that's quite frightening. That's quite scary.
Yeah.
Or you've mistakenly pressed the microphone button on the text, and now it's going to send a text to somebody about what you just said about them.
Well,
completely unintentionally.
So social media, we're talking, and you said
sorry, I distracted. That was my fault.
So you're not a fan. You're not a fan. I'm not a fan as such.
Okay, here's my take on social media. I found that I was quite addicted to social media.
Yeah,
but I was addicted to something that wasn't really making me happy or productive, and I couldn't figure out why. until one day I was reading some stuff and I was watching a video and it was dash cam footage I was watching, right? And it pissed me off because of the driver I was watching. But then I went to go to bed and I couldn't sleep because of it. And I spoke to my wife about it, and she went, "What the hell's wrong with you?" I goes, "Look, I'm wound up because I watched a video that doesn't involve me.
Yeah,
and I didn't see it in the first place." So
You're
then,
right.
I deleted it off my phone the next day.
My problem with it, and Craig's just alluded to it, is you get hooked into what you think is a conversation with somebody about something, and it's not.
They're
It's
giggling.
having a debate.
Well, there's
people in their pants sitting behind a computer doing nothing, winding people like us up because they know about it. As soon as you hook, it's like when you're a kid and you knock on someone's door, and the ones that don't come out, you never go back to again. But you knock on that one door, and then the guy comes out and he thinks, "I'm going to get rid of them," but he hasn't got rid of them. What he's done is he's encouraged them to come back because he's responded to it. Well, that's what happens.
There is a term for this.
Arguments.
There is a term for it. It's called rage bait.
Rage bait.
Rage bait.
Rage bait. It's a relative. Well, I don't know if it's new, but it's relatively new to me. I did an article on it a while back because it annoyed me, ironically.
Well, it would.
Yeah, I know. But
it's the appropriate naming.
You've heard of the term clickbait, right?
Yeah.
It's essentially the same idea, but it's designed to piss you off. That's all it is. Designed to invoke.
Who are these people that come up with these things?
Assholes.
Yeah.
I can give you a list of names.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah. But that's what it is. It's rage bait. So it's designed to invoke that reaction in you, so you get stuck in.
So let's take it from a business perspective. LinkedIn, which we all use one way or another. You wouldn't imagine that somebody using LinkedIn would do some rage bait.
100%.
I was going to say, because I know there are things on there I see that enrage me.
Me too, and I think they do it. Tell you who are really good at it, recruiters. They'll put something on.
And I think Craig and I legitimately can talk about
recruitment. We can, because we've been involved in that industry for a number of years. But they'll put something out about a candidate or client experience that's nonsense, right? But listen, it's smart, because what they'll know it'll do, well, some of the client will come on and say, "Well, yeah, absolutely, that shouldn't have been done." And those candidates, they're arseholes, they respond. But then the candidate come on, "Well, actually, we on the other side of that, and we put things in we don't get responded to because recruitment's shit, and you guys don't pay attention. Actually, the clients don't get back to us, and we're spending a lot of time." And all of a sudden, this person in the background saying, "Brilliant." He said, "I totally get how you all feel, and that's not how we operate. We do things totally different." So, that was smart, because you've got a heap of people to jump on, rage bait, and poor people who have actually been affected, either client or candidate, don't really matter, because it's that whole thing, no publicity is bad publicity. Exactly. Is that true?
Well, that's I wonder about that. Yeah.
I totally back that statement. 100%. Because at the end of the day, if you're angry about it, right, and you jump in, you're talking about that company, and then you remember them. Now, you might remember them for a bad reason, but that doesn't last.
That's true. It's absolutely true. I ranted about Apple there, right? 100%.
You will buy that.
I'll get the new iPhone. I'm already thinking about it.
That was the best thing I ever did, was come away from it.
Yeah.
I used to have an iPhone. It was years ago, but I came away from it because I saw myself getting sucked in.
Well, were you not in the bandwagon of Huawei? Is that how you pronounce them? Huawei? That's
Huawei?
The worst name.
Huawei. Honestly,
and then you found out you were being tracked by China.
Yeah, I know, but are you honestly telling me that Apple's not tracking you? let's face it. Everybody is. Let's face it. I mean, privacy is dead in the world, but that's another conversation to have. But Huawei, I had a Huawei phone because it was relatively new to the market at that point, and honestly, it was one of the best ones I've ever had.
Yeah, a lot of people said it.
There's a follow-up question. Yeah. Do you still have one?
No. That was about 5 or 6 years ago that I had it. So it kind of wound down as phones do. It lasted a good 4 years, roughly. So it was one of the best ones I've ever had. And the reason that they're no longer in the market, of course, is because Google Play Store is not on it.
That's right. Here's something for you guys, right? The top 10. Now, this is social networks worldwide as of this year. So listen to this. Top 10, Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok, WeChat, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, Douyin, and Snapchat.
I've heard of 9 of those.
Right. How many have you heard? How many have you heard? Yeah, Facebook Messenger's there. So how many have
maybe 3 I haven't heard of. The ones.
How many have you got?
How many have I got?
Yeah.
WhatsApp, Facebook.
I mean, we're sort of cheating here because
Maybe I've got
I can't see Facebook and Facebook Messenger as two different things.
No, I agree. I think they're one thing. I have Facebook. YouTube we use, right? That's fine. I have WhatsApp. I use that. Instagram I've started doing more on Instagram. I'm on my way to becoming an influencer, I think.
Nice. I got 38 followers.
I've got about that, which is cool. I don't know how many you need to be an influencer, but I'm on my way. TikTok I don't have. I think I did one thing. I'm going to come back to TikTok because that's the fastest growing platform.
Yes,
with 100% user growth rate, or like almost like month on month. It's ridiculous. I'll come back to that.
I've got a point on that.
Telegram.
I'll tell you about Telegram.
Yeah, tell me about Telegram. Isn't that secure WhatsApp?
It's an alternative to WhatsApp, basically. Now, a while back, the listeners might remember this. WhatsApp came out with a new privacy policy, and people kicked off about it. I cannot remember what it said, but they kicked off about it, and Telegram spiked because it is encrypted both ends or whatever it is. And it's the privacy is a lot higher on Telegram. I'll tell you who uses Telegram. A lot of people that sell this IPTV.
What's IPTV?
Awesome. That's what it is.
Oh, we'll come back. Yeah, I know what you mean now. Yes,
but
so you don't have truth then?
No. So what about WeChat? Have you heard of WeChat?
I've heard of WeChat.
I've never heard of it.
Used it.
Never heard of it.
I presume, based on the name, it's the same thing. DOUYIN. Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. And it's one of the top 10 global social networks worldwide.
I mean,
never heard of it.
Look at it.
Oh,
I think
that'll be why, right?
It's
Chinese. That looks Mandarin.
Oh, so maybe it's a Chinese version of TikTok.
No,
they don't have
TikTok's
TikTok.
China.
Oh, TikTok's China. So TikTok.
Actually, I'll tell you, look, that's the same.
The number one bandwagon
for people that are
me.
listening to this, we need to establish that's a TikTok logo in Douyin. Aye, okay. Have you heard that?
TikTok was a kid's thing to do dances on and stuff, right? Wasn't it? That was. But now this is what I don't know about bandwagons. There's more and more things that we're seeing with businesses using TikTok.
I've seen that, yeah.
Record Room. We've got Record Room as well. And we're being told time and time again that we need to be using TikTok.
Because it erupted when we did use it.
I don't know how it erupted, what that eruption meant.
9 million views or something like that?
What does that mean?
I don't know. Like people all it doesn't necessarily
I think
benefit a local business.
Are we dated or do we just...
Craig, this is something you and I have spoken about so many times. Great. So you get 1,000 people look at your post or whatever. And how many invoices did you send out?
Well, that's
our audience. Yeah, because when we're doing marketing, it's like, great, you've got an X amount of million viewers of TikTok. Now, this is fantastic. But 60% of them were in America. What's the chances of them coming to Aberdeen and attend that?
It's not. I mean, it doesn't benefit.
By way of a rant about the ineffectiveness of social media, and I'm not going to mention any names here. You'll be aware that when we were in recruitment, we had a little bit of an exchange with another recruiter at the time of Twitter, now X. And that Friday afternoon, the person who was criticizing our use of it had posted up, if I remember rightly, I'm going to have a tuna sandwich for lunch.
Yeah.
Why are pirates called pirates? And then I'm going home now.
Right. Yeah. No. This is Jay.
I'm not quite sure from a business context where that's coming from and how that helps. And it's the same on LinkedIn.
I would love someone to tell us.
Yeah, and LinkedIn at the moment, I'm puzzling over because I don't know the answer.
Yeah, we're speaking about this.
There's loads of people putting a picture of themselves up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's putting a portrait of themselves.
Some people are doing it every day.
When they write a post, and I'm thinking, well, I haven't done that. Should people be saying this dog?
Well, there's something in that actually.
Wow, expert.
No, not at all.
Okay.
But before I jump into that, Douyin is a counterpart of TikTok.
See, that's
just for somebody listening's going to be raising with it.
That's not the top thing. So you can't have Facebook.
Well, it's a counterpart.
You can't have Douyin and TikTok.
I don't know what that means.
So that's a fake list, and that was from
But
statistic now.
yeah, but going, Andrew, your point there, like people
tell me about people putting
pictures,
faces up.
pictures up this that. Not so much about that. It's more about your reaction to it. Is should you do that as well? Talking about bandwagon jumping, more and more people are fighting against it because in the idea. In the last, say, 5 to 10 years, people are like, if you don't keep up, you're going to get left behind.
See that? But
we're now reaching the point where we're going the other way.
Well, it's overstimulation, isn't it? And it's the same.
Well, I saw a comment from somebody encouraging people about the use of LinkedIn, and the post was a description of how they'd managed to up their hit rate from wherever it was to 90,000 people over a 6 month.
Yeah, I see stuff,
which is really impressive.
Yeah.
But what it listed was I started off doing half an hour a day, then 2 hours a day. And you think, well, hold on, how do you find 2 hours a day?
What's the rest of your day?
Work LinkedIn. That
unless LinkedIn, yeah. See, this is. I think there is that kind of look your profile raising, and I 100% get that. Certainly in a business platform, I think you kind of have to raise your platform. However, I do, and I would love to be told otherwise. I think it's very much dependent on what you do and what sort of business you do, because it's the same. Right, Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or not. I'll tell you where I'm going with this. There is a link because I know that I can jump off. He started coming out and goes, do you know what? It's a bit different. Cool, some really good songs. And you release another song. Yeah, that's pretty good. Then all of a sudden there's 5 songs in the charts. And then all of a sudden the whole top 10's Ed Sheeran. And then you're like, do you know what? This guy's really pissing me off. We should go away. Every time I put on the radio is Ed Sheeran. Every time I look at it, it's Ed Sheeran. I think that there's got to be a line. Because what he's then done, right? And no offense to Ed Sheeran, I went to see him in a gig and he was superb. He's kind of backed off a bit, and he did his last album that was just a reflective album for him that a lot of people were like, huh? I didn't really get that. It's the same with LinkedIn. Is that the same with LinkedIn?
Well, sort of. I think it's universal, really, because I think I'm the same as you. Ed Sheeran pissed me off, and I'll tell you why. Because when he was writing these songs and he was in the top 10 was in the charts, he was great, right? It was really good songs, and the world saw that. But then he recorded one of the songs that was in the charts with Beyonce.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that I've had many conversations about because of that was because I think he tried to enter into America and he sold himself out doing it, right?
Yeah.
The idea is not so much, it's trying to be successful, but he was already successful. But now it appeared that he was doing it for the wrong reason and people could see it.
So bandwagon jumping. He was bandwagon jumping.
Sort of, yeah. But it's the same as LinkedIn. If you're posting things that you're genuinely doing and interested in and all that kind of stuff, people can see it. But if you're doing it to try and raise your profile or trying to get views or likes or whatever, people just switch off. They don't do it because they can see
if they see that it's right. So here's because you just made a really good tie-in, a really good kind of track there, Beyonce. Right. So Beyonce was super successful, really famous, R&B, soul, everything. What's the kind of most popular type of music right now? That's kind of country. Okay, there we go. So Beyonce's just released a country song, really catchy. By
it is catchy.
She's released a country album.
Yeah.
Now, bandwagon jumping?
Yes, 100% it is.
But is it positive? Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Because I think is there a positive and negative?
Well,
bandwagon.
I've liked country music for years. I really have, and I can name a lot of country singers.
It's not like you're admitting to some sort of guilty pleasure.
No, not at all. I like country music as well. Bear with me, Andrew, on this one because I've liked it.
Honestly, I like country music.
It's great, right? But now you're getting all the people that liked it for years coming up saying, "No, I don't like it."
Yeah, no, I'm like that. I've always been the non-conformist type. Yeah, and actually, country music's shit.
It's ruined it now.
But you're right. Listen to these sort of bands that annoys you that other people are finding now. So the Zach Brown band, I was listening to those guys 10 years ago, and they haven't just arrived, by the way.
Exactly.
I actually don't think Beyonce's jumped on a bandwagon.
Okay.
I think she has just simply done what artists down through the years have always done, and that's record an alternative piece of music.
Fair enough. It's a fair point. It's a fair argument, Andrew.
Back in the 70s, Brian Ferry released an album of songs from the 60s and Bowie other things, and then we had Rod Stewart crooning away, and so on and so forth. I think people
always do it.
always done that.
Well, so do you think she's just maybe getting a bit more because who she is and how famous she is? Okay.
You're probably right.
I feel that's a little bit unfair on Beyonce.
It's not so much.
See, when she listens to this podcast, I wonder if she'll be pissed off about that.
Yeah, she will be.
Oh no, she won't be pissed off at me.
No, not at all. No, but the reality is probably too early to tell whether she has or not jumped on that bandwagon. But the fallout from it has become a lot of because she's an R&B singer, right? So a lot of R&B fans are now drifting over into country and discovering, like the Zac Brown band and Luke Combs and all these people that have been around for years, but they've discovered it like it's their discovery. Yeah. Right? And that's the thing that's getting to me.
But that's always the case. That is always the case.
It's the same with kids, you know what I mean? Age is the same. You know what I mean? Kids have discovered Elvis for the first time. You think, go fuck yourself. It's true though, isn't it?
But it depends which Elvis.
That's true, isn't it? But you get the point. Like things that have been around for 10, 20 years. Yeah. People that are just growing up and discovering it for the first time, it's their discovery.
That's maybe testament to the credibility and how good the artist was that they are being rediscovered, right? And does that come down to actually they were clever, whether it's a bandwagon or not, that they did things rather than saying, I'm going to stick to my guns and I'm going to carry on doing the same thing.
100%.
Tell you a good rediscovery story. There's a record shop in Edinburgh, Fop.
I remember you used to Fop up here. It was great.
Wandering around Fop, and there's a couple of late teenage kids looking at all the vinyl, rediscovering it, and this guy, I'm going to buy this one, and it was a Bowie album that he pulled out. Okay, 1970s Bowie album. I'm going to get this one, and the girl he was with said, "Have you got a record player?" He said, "No."
Fair enough.
So there you go. The power of Bowie, the power of vinyl. People buy it even when they can't listen to it.
I would have had to pull them up.
Yeah, you would call them out on it.
I said, can you explain what you're doing? Can you explain what's happening?
Maybe you'll go away and
do you know, that's the thing. They might go away and learn a bit about it and stuff like that. And you know what? We probably should be happy with what Beyonce did because she's introducing the good music that we listen to a whole new
see a
area of people
backtracking now.
No, not at all. No, I'm still pissed about it, but I think my anger is a bit misplaced on Beyonce. I think it's more of the fact that the reaction people are having discovering this music, claiming it. Do you know what I mean? You
can't have that if you look at look at Jeremy Clarkson, right? When he goes far, right? There are a lot of farmers that I remember hearing from and speaking to and going like they were really pissed off with him, right? Mm-hmm. Because thought, do you know what, he's doing this as a joke. We've done this for all our life, and farming is a hard business. I know quite a lot of farmers. That's a tough gig, right?
I wouldn't do it.
What they do, it's a life that they do, and they're just being beat down. Beat down by the government, time and time again, with no support. We've got everything we need in our doorstep. You can say the same for energy, but instead of kind of doing what we've got in our doorstep, we'll look at importing things from other countries. Anyway, that apart, Jeremy Clarkson was getting, all sorts of abuse from the farming community initially, not all of them, that what he's doing was a joke and he was taking the piss. Yeah. Anyway, on the back of it, as the program went on and they watched it, and you watched how much he actually meant, how much it's meant for him and how passionate he was about it. You've got farmers saying that that show's done more for the farming community over a couple of years than the government's done in the past 10. Just by, having that kind of public, having a character that people know, love him or hate him, you're tuning in to see what happens next, what calamity he's going to do now. But on the back of it, you've got people learning and being educated about the problems and the issues and the struggles that the farming community have. Yeah. And then jumping in bandwagons, but here's where I say you get positive and negative bandwagons. You've got people, and myself included, think, there's no way I'm going to go and buy, as my chicken everything from some shitty supermarket that's importing this from another country. I'll pay that little bit more and go to somewhere where I know that that's local produce and it's coming from farms. That's got to be a good bandwagon example.
Jumping off the bandwagon story about farming recently, and it was about milk and beef. which I'm not sure whether Milk and Beef were a bandwagon a few years ago. You weren't meant to drink full cream milk because it was bad.
Yeah. I know where you go with this actually now.
And milk cattle were destroying the environment by farting.
Completely. By farting. That's right.
We've got to stop eating beef. So
stop those cows farting.
Now full cream milk is what we should be drinking, and everyone's
because it's more natural.
Yeah, and I love the fact that vegan restaurants are serving hamburgers.
It's great, isn't it?
So that's people sort of found out I don't really like this bandwagon. Is that them being created so they can justify and enjoy drinking milk again, which is great.
Yeah,
I find it. There was. I can't remember where this word came from recently, but it's like socializes it, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Everyone hears the same story, so they join in with that. This must be what you meant to do, and then realise, well, I actually don't quite like this. Eventually, I get the chance to jump off this bandwagon and do what I really want.
Such a good point. And I go the opposite way, and sometimes to my detriment. And I realise this: if I think something's a bandwagon, I say, well, I'm not going to do it. So everyone else is saying they're doing this, but I hate being a fool. So everyone's doing it. I'm not going to do it out of principle. It's nonsense. They're all just copying each other. And it has, sometimes you go, oh shit, maybe you should have jumped on that bus or wagon a little bit of a while ago.
You've got to pick your battles, though. You've got to pick
Yeah.
Got to pick your bandwagons.
Quick.
Not the ones where the wheels are falling off as it's going past.
Those are
they're the wrong bandwagons.
But a quick one on that one, actually. Got to pick your battles, whether you should or not go on it. I was in Starbucks last weekend, and I asked for a flat white or whatever it was, just a coffee, but it had milk in it, and they offered me 5 different types of milk.
Yeah, that's scary, isn't it? What sort of milk do you want with it?
What? Sorry?
5 different types of milk.
Yeah.
There was like skimmed, semi-skimmed, oats, soya, almond.
And there's another one now.
Oh, ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Are you sure you weren't in that comedy sketch about that?
It's Andrew's
reality.
It's actually true. And you're like, what?
Yeah, it's just
what happened to milk?
I just wanted milk. No, honestly, I don't know how much better it is for the environment to drink an almond milk. I have no idea. I don't care that much. That's just my view. I don't care.
Should farts harm the environment?
I don't know, probably. I'll tell you what does, though, in avocados. Avocados is one of the worst things for the environment.
You're kidding.
No, I was reading an article about it, and apparently it's like farming 2 of them is the equivalent to driving a hatchback for like a year.
What?
I don't know how much truth there is in that, but I did read about it.
I've constantly got 2 avocados in my fridge. Now I feel though that
I've read it a couple of times.
Got to be a made-up fact. Sorry, I had this vision of clouds full of avocados blocking the sun out or something like that, but that's a long way around.
From what I understand, avocados are horrendous for the environment.
Jeez.
But they're not harming the big animals. They're harming the little ones. Mice, insects, and all that.
Do you know what? It's a labyrinth of issues.
That's the thing. I mean, you're never going to get to the truth of it because there's so much fake news out there about it all. So make up your own mind.
All right. Okay. So here's the challenge. To sort of finish off our week podcast here. We've been talking about social media. Let's home in on LinkedIn a little bit.
Yeah.
Good LinkedIn stories that have good in the sense that they kind of caught your attention or wound you up a little bit, or got you thinking about something good or bad.
You go first, Craig.
Okay, I've got one. You'll all have seen it. I was walking down the road to work the other day, and I saw this little old man sitting there looking really lonely on a bench. And I thought, I wonder if he needs some company. And I went and bought him a cup of coffee. And here's a picture of me with a little old man. And he was telling me about a story. And he was a World War II veteran, but he's lost his doesn't have any family and all the rest. And bullshit. You had one of them, and I remember for the first right? Maybe it was an original one, an original source. And it's like, God, you're a great person. I should befriend an old person sitting on their own and buy them a coffee and hear their story, because that was a really nice thing to do. But then you started seeing these stories with different people with the same concept. I'm like, hold on a second, I call bullshit in this. Well, have you seen it? Do you know the ones I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So, sort of, yeah. Do you know why that would piss me off watching that? Is because he took a photo of it.
See, that didn't.
But it's the same thing, right? If you're listening to someone, you do not have to give away things that you are listening to them, right? You are genuinely just listening.
Yeah.
If you see a lot, like people that are incredibly wealthy, you never hear them say that they're wealthy. if he's just befriended that guy and had a conversation with him, he would have just done that.
That would have been a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't have to photograph it and publicize it.
And it wasn't, and as soon as that was done, it wasn't about the old man.
No.
It was about them.
It was about them.
Yeah.
That's remember when we did the website a few years ago, Craig, and the advice to us about using the word global. If you have to keep telling everyone you're global, you're probably not.
You're probably not global. Yeah.
Great advice, by the way.
Telling
it's
everyone that you're supportive of poor ex-veterans, you're probably not.
And it is that global thing. Because when that was said, and funnily enough, I caught up with Mark the other day, but a great conversation, doing really well. But but when you're looking at those global things, the amount of people or things you'll see there, saying, you've got an office in your house.
That's Sean's point, isn't it? If you have to keep telling people how good you are, you're probably not.
Probably not. No, because you let the action speak for itself, don't you?
Yeah.
Really good point. Yeah.
Can I share mine?
Yes, please.
It was prompted by what you said earlier about recruitment. So there was, it's about expertise, and we all have expertise from experience. And the comment was about having read 30,000 CVs. Okay, great, really good, lot of expertise. And I read a report that said we don't actually read CVs; we look at them for 8 seconds.
Yeah.
So I did a calculation based on that.
I love it.
Because we've both been in recruitment. We know. Some people you read eventually, but you look at CVs.
You know what you're looking for. Yeah.
So on that basis, over 30 years, 30,000 CVs, 8 seconds, is 66 hours. So it's about 2.5 hours a year.
Wow. You really undersold that, didn't you?
Yeah.
And an extra 30,000.
But that's me. That was me. So I'm saying if I'd done that, I'm not criticising the person who put the post up.
It might have then.
Prompted me to think about what is that as a piece of experience. Well, it's actually
relative, right? Yeah, if you look into it.
Yeah.
I like that.
When I looked at it from my own perspective of 30 years in recruitment, 2.5 hours a year reading CVs.
You need to work hard.
You got to have a CV that you read everything.
Anyway,
but how do you
it made me laugh anyway. Looking
what
at
was yours, Sean?
Yeah, well, mine's is not a specific post, but it's more something people do on LinkedIn, and I reckon it's because someone saw it once and thought, you know what, that's how I'll do it. And it's because people don't know how to post things on LinkedIn, but they want to make sure that they're active. If I come across a post on LinkedIn and the first 2 words are delighted to, I skip past it.
You see them all the time.
You see it all the time, right?
Yeah,
it's not just me. Like, so many people go, I'm delighted to visit this thing. And I don't give a shit. Like, what happened at it? Nothing. Doesn't matter.
I do get those ones.
Yeah, I see them all the time.
I'm delighted to be here. Excellent. I'm delighted for you.
Yeah. What do you say?
So this is almost as if this has been scripted. Full circle. Because I've got hooked into a post on Facebook that started with delighted to. And it was delighted to be in New York for the Scottish Week, and it was from an MSP, and I'd never heard of her before, ever. I thought, well, who is this MSP? I looked at her Facebook page, and there were, this is true, and there were weather reports, Easter egg hunt, and then there was a post about the 90th birthday of the SMP, where it said, we have came a long way in 90 years. So I wasn't going to do anything.
But you did.
Yeah, you couldn't help yourself.
So I put up, but we haven't came very far.
You were delighted to put that comment.
Not only was that post deleted, that post from me was deleted. When I commented on the fact my post had been deleted, I was then barred from commenting at this MP's Facebook
I'm
page.
so delighted you were barred from an
And
MP's.
and in another world, I'd tell you the name of the MSP, but she knows who she is.
We'll maybe tell offline.
We won't go that way. So Craig, sorry, Sean, what a brilliant outro that was for you to do that.
Something that's on my mind.
We covered quite a lot in a short space of time.
I did all right.
It's gone on for so long.
We
could rant on for so long, but I think we'll stop at that point, and we hope that we've offended people enough for them to have enjoyed our ranting and conversation. If you have been offended, please let us know, because we'd like you to come along and be involved. We will continue to offend politely again.
Politely offend, I like that.
Yeah, I like
Politely
that too.
offend
Yeah.
again in another way, in the next conversation within these four walls. So thanks for joining us today.